The woman stood in front of the old brick building, with both hands on her hips, and shouted, "Stop those workers right now. This property belongs to the HOA until we finish our investigation." Every hammer stopped. Every worker turned. I slowly climbed down from the ladder and looked at her without saying a word. She was wearing a bright blue blazer with a gold HOA badge clipped to her chest like she was the mayor of the whole county. Behind her stood 2 board members holding clipboards, acting as if they already owned the place. I wiped the dust from my hands and asked, "Can you show me the paper that says you control my property?" She smiled like she had already won. "I don't need to show you anything. I'm Marjorie Voss, president of this HOA. That hotel has been abandoned for over 30 years. According to our records, it falls under community control." I couldn't help smiling. "That's strange. Because I bought it from the county 3 weeks ago." Her smile disappeared for only a second, then came right back. "Someone made a mistake," she said. "We'll fix it." Those 5 words stayed in my head. We'll fix it. Not, we'll check. Not, let's verify. She already knew something. The workers looked at me, waiting for instructions. I calmly said, "Keep working." The sound of drills filled the air again. Marjorie's face turned red. "You are ignoring an official HOA order." I looked directly at her. "No. I'm ignoring a fake one." She pulled out her phone so fast it almost slipped from her hand. "You'll regret this. I've heard that before." She walked away while talking loudly on the phone, making sure everyone could hear. "Call our attorney. And tell him they're starting without permission." The workers laughed quietly after she left, but I didn't. Something about her reaction felt wrong. She wasn't angry because I was renovating an old hotel. She was scared. That building had been empty for decades. Broken windows. Rotten floors. A roof ready to fall apart. Most people thought I had wasted my savings buying it. They saw an old ruin. I saw something different. I had spent 20 years restoring historic buildings across the country. Old places always carried stories. And sometimes secrets. This hotel felt different from the first day I stepped inside. The county records were missing several years of ownership history. Old tax files had disappeared. Even the blueprints looked incomplete. Almost like someone had removed pages on purpose. The county clerk quietly told me one sentence before handing me the keys. "If anyone tries to stop you, don't quit." I asked why. She looked around the office before lowering her voice. "Because people have been trying to keep that basement closed for years." She refused to say anything else. At first, I thought it was just another local rumor. Now, after seeing Marjorie's panic, I wasn't so sure. Later that afternoon, one of the construction workers walked over, carrying a rust-covered metal box he had found behind a broken wall. "There wasn't supposed to be a room back there," he said. Inside the box were old maintenance papers, faded photographs, and a heavy brass key with a tiny metal tag. The tag had only one word stamped into it: Vault. Before I could even touch the key, I heard tires screech outside. 3 black SUVs stopped in front of the hotel. Marjorie stepped out with a sheriff's deputy. And this time, she was smiling much wider than before. She looked straight at me and said, "Now let's see who really owns this building." The deputy walked toward me while Marjorie stood behind him with her arms crossed, already enjoying what she thought would be my defeat. "Sir," the deputy said calmly, "she claims this property is under an active HOA investigation. I need to see your ownership papers." I handed him the county deed without saying a word. He read every page carefully. Then he looked at Marjorie. "This deed is legal. He owns the hotel." Her smile disappeared. "But that's impossible," she shouted. "Those records were supposed to be." She stopped talking the moment she realized what she had almost admitted. The deputy slowly turned back toward her. "Supposed to be what?" She forced a nervous laugh. "I mean, supposed to be reviewed." The deputy didn't answer. Instead, he stepped aside and let me continue working. Marjorie stormed back to her SUV, but before leaving, she looked at the hotel with fear instead of anger. That evening, I finally used the brass key. Hidden behind an old furnace was a thick steel door covered in dust. The key fit perfectly. The lock clicked. The heavy door slowly opened. Inside was a concrete vault no bigger than a bedroom. Rows of metal shelves filled the room. Boxes. Ledgers. Property deeds. Bank records. Photographs. Cassette tapes. Everything had been carefully labeled by year. Going back almost 40 years. One locked cabinet held a handwritten journal from the hotel's last owner. The first page changed everything. If you're reading this, they finally failed to steal this place. Page after page described fake HOA elections, forged property transfers, secret payments, missing county files, and families forced to sell their homes after receiving false legal notices. Every major decision carried one family name: Voss. Marjorie's family had been running the fraud for decades. The final envelope inside the cabinet was addressed to the county attorney with one sentence written across the front: "Open this if they ever come back." The next morning, I personally delivered every document to the county attorney's office. Within hours, investigators, state auditors, and detectives filled the hotel parking lot. Search warrants were signed before sunset. Marjorie's home, the HOA office, storage units, personal bank accounts. Everything was searched. Security cameras captured board members carrying boxes out the back door. But deputies stopped them before they reached their vehicles. The hidden vault had answered every question they hoped would stay buried forever. Over the next few weeks, investigators uncovered millions of dollars in stolen property. Forged signatures, fake liens, illegal foreclosures, and secret accounts stretching back decades. More than 60 families were officially cleared of false HOA debts. Several homeowners even received back property that had been taken through fraud years earlier. Marjorie was arrested on multiple felony charges, alongside several former board members and 2 corrupt county employees who had helped hide the records. When reporters asked her if she wanted to explain herself, she stayed silent. There was nothing left to say. The hotel renovation continued without another interruption. During the final cleanup, I placed the old brass key inside a glass display case in the lobby. Under it was a small metal plaque: "Truth doesn't stay locked forever." Visitors often ask why an old key sits in the middle of such a beautiful building. I simply smile and tell them, because one forgotten key gave an entire town its freedom back. And every time I walk past that display, I remember one thing: power can hide the truth for years, but the truth only needs one door to open.